I was recently watching an Alex Becker video where he stated people spend so much time on alcohol, weed, caffeine, processed food, and shit habits that they never get to experience their true personality. And this is obviously true. It's hard to be yourself when you're sleep deprived and hungover, for example. But today I want to take it one step further by stating the following. Most people never experience their true personality even after fixing all the above because through childhood they were molded more towards one center at the expense of the other two centers.
As a result, they're only 1/3 of who they have the potential to be. This is my initial hypothesis, and through this video, you'll be able to experience the truth of this for yourself. More importantly, you'll start to experience more of your potential by bringing more of yourself online. But before we do that, let's first run you through the 3 centers.
Center number 1 is the head center. It's characterized with intelligence, creativity, problem solving, pattern recognition, awareness, stillness, and focus. Center number 2 is the heart center. It's characterized with courage, boldness, strength, love, passion, compassion, spontaneity, and joy. Center number 3 is the belly center. It's characterized with confidence, willpower, discipline, flow, stability, and groundedness. Think of these 3 centers as your 3 brains. In an ideal situation, these 3 brains work in harmony, and the end result is the actualization of your true personality. Your head center is open to receive brilliant new insights. Your heart center is passionately and courageously engaged in the art of living. And your belly center provides the support and confidence to carry out your aims with discipline and integrity. All this in return gives rise to the true you. In other words, you quite literally describe this experience as feeling more you, because deep down inside is a hardwired memory of the true you. So, such is what becomes possible when these 3 centers are aligned. But the issue with the most of us is the following. Not only are these 3 centers misaligned due to childhood conditioning, but we spend the majority of our life experiencing only one center at the expense of the others because we don't even know we possess these 3 brains. Take the typical nerd, for example. The stereotypical nerd is dominated by the head center and filters the entire world through this one brain. This is why the typical nerd is smart, but usually lacks real relationships, which is the heart center, and physicality, which is the belly center. He quite literally lives inside the head, and this colors his entire worldview. Or take the jock, for example. The stereotypical jock is dominated by the belly center and filters the entire world through this one brain. This is why the typical jock is wired towards action, but usually lacks real intelligence, which is the head center, and vulnerability, which is the heart center. He quite literally lives inside the belly, and this colors his entire world view. Or take the typical spiritual person, for example. The stereotypical spiritual person is dominated by the heart center and filters the entire world through this one brain. This is why the typical spiritual person is always talking about everything is love, light, bliss, but usually lacks street smarts, which is the head center, and their financial life is often fucked up, which is the belly center. He quite literally lives inside the heart, and this colors his entire world view. Now, I use these 3 examples to highlight the extremes, but in reality, you probably aren't as extreme. You probably rotate through these 3 centers without realizing throughout the day. And when you're in the right center for the right job, you flourish. But when you're in the wrong center at the wrong time, you get in your own way and block your blessings. For example, if you're mapping out a business strategy for how to dominate a new market, then it literally pays to be in the head center. If you're going clubbing with the boys and girls with the objective of having maximum fun, then it literally pays to be in the heart center. If you're doing something like 75 hard and know exactly what needs to be done, then it literally pays to be in the belly center. Problems arise when you're tasked with coming up with a business strategy which requires foresight and logic, but you're living in the heart, which may want to do what feels good. Problems arise when you see a beautiful woman that you would like to approach, which requires courage and boldness, but you're stuck in your head, which may be filling you with fear and anxiety. Problems arise when you set an alarm for 5 a.m., which requires discipline and integrity, but you hear the alarm the next morning while being stuck in your heart center, which may just love the comfort of being in bed. In the wrong center at the wrong time equals failure. The right center at the right time equals success. This is why if you're dominant only in one center and don't even know the other two exist, then you're not only experiencing 1/3 of yourself, but also only experiencing 1/3 of all the potential success that you could be enjoying right here and right now without changing anything else. If your head center is dominant, then you're typically good with your finances and career, but your social life and health usually suffer. If your heart center is dominant, then you typically have really great relationships and social life, but your career and health may not be as good. If your belly center is dominant, then you typically have great health, but your finances and love life may not be as good. Such is the problem for only having one brain for the job. So with that all stated, the next question becomes, how do you awaken these dormant centers? And the answer is simple: by unlocking your true personality. Your true personality comes to life when all three centers are online and fully responsive to the needs of the moment. If action is needed, the belly runs the show and gives you the confidence to carry out your aims with discipline. If you see a child in pain, the heart runs the show and gives you the courage and love to step in and do something about the situation. If you're on a walk after a deep work session, the head runs the show and gives you the creative insights you need for your next big marketing promotion. Such is the human potential we all share. And in order to actualize this potential, we must liberate the three centers by getting them back online and working in sync. Before I go into how to do that, here's a quick little rant from my fired up heart center. I don't believe in living in balance at all. I believe this is the fastest road to mediocrity, so I'm not a fan. The only balance I believe in is balancing the three centers. With the three centers balanced, you are fully yourself and have more of you with all your qualities and capacities for playing the video game of life. So fuck balance as a whole, but prioritize balance of the three centers. Alright, rant over. Now, onto the practical stuff. How to awaken your dormant centers. Step 1. Audit yourself and assess your dominant center and your two weak centers. Now, this is usually pretty obvious, but if you're struggling with this audit, then simply evaluate the results you're generating in the various areas of life. If you're struggling with your career, then you're usually lacking in the head center. If you're struggling to live to the fullest, then you're usually lacking in the heart center. If you're struggling with consistency, then you're usually lacking in the belly center. These are the easy tells. With this knowledge, you can now tell what brain you are most biased towards being in. In other words, think of your consciousness like a flashlight, which you illuminate, you experience. Now think of your conditioning as a tight hold which determines what brain the light of your consciousness points towards. In short, this conditioning literally conditions you to spend more time in one brain over the other two, which creates this misalignment and stunts your potential. Freeing up our personality means to free up the hold the conditioning has over the consciousness so it can start pointing to the right brain based on the needs of the moment and become fully responsive. So after you've determined your dominant center and your two weaker centers, it's time for the next step. Step 2. Consciously break the pattern of your conditioning by being in the right center at the right time. Your conditioning is naturally wired to place you in one brain over the other two, regardless of the situation at hand. This is autopilot living. Our job is to consciously direct the flashlight of consciousness to be in the appropriate center for whatever the moment calls for. In the beginning, we have to use our willpower to do this manually, but over time, this starts happening naturally and you free yourself to be yourself fully. The question now becomes, how do we direct the flashlight of consciousness to be in the appropriate center for whatever the moment calls for? And it's a great question. The answer, however, isn't as great because it's incredibly simple. So simple that most people dismiss this entirely. You direct the flashlight of consciousness by placing your conscious attention on whatever center is needed. Here's a quick personal example to highlight what I mean. This past weekend, I went on a few adventures. And right now, I'm fucking hurting. Head is throbbing, brain is foggy, mood is irritable, and my overall focus is a little bit fucked up. But guess what? The day's work still needs doing. So I simply place some of my conscious attention on my belly and feel into that area while working. By doing so, the actual qualities of the belly, such as steadfastness and discipline and integrity, start infusing my experience and give me the willpower I need to take action right now and handle the duties of the day, regardless of how I feel. If I didn't know how to do this and just perceived the entire situation through the foggy head center, then the entire day would be a wrap and characterized with fogginess. At the same time, if the belly was all I knew and wasn't aware of the heart center that knows when to rest and how to take care of yourself, then I could quite literally work myself to getting more sick. As you can see, the three centers function in a very intelligent and responsive way, and the way you realize this potential is by placing your attention on whatever center is needed. Make this a moment-by-moment habit. When you're working through your to-do list, keep a part of your conscious attention on the belly. When you're on a date or hanging with friends and family, keep a part of your conscious attention on the heart. When you're brainstorming big ideas and unique selling points for your business, keep a part of your conscious attention on the head. Start here. Doing so over time will reverse the tightness of the conditioning and free yourself to experience more of yourself, which will give rise to experiencing more success in all areas of your life. This is the 80-20 of how to awaken the dormant centers and unlock your true personality. In addition, it also helps a lot if you can infuse into your day various activities that require your dormant centers to come online. If you're more head dominant, get into the gym or practice MMA. This will force you to tap into the courage of the heart and the action and discipline of the belly. If you're more heart dominant, schedule 4 hours of deep work daily to work on revenue generating activities. This will force you to tap into the intelligence of the head and the action and discipline of the belly. If you're more belly dominant, take up stand-up comedy, cold approach strangers, write 10 ideas a day, and/or study poetry. This will force you to tap into the creativity of the head and the love for living of the heart. Now, how well you perform the activity does not matter. Fuck that shit. What matters is you bring to life the dormant center. Ironically enough, the more you bring to life the dormant center, the better you'll perform at the activity. This is the greatest performance hack no self-help book will tell you. By doing this, in addition to placing your conscious attention on whatever center is needed for the job, you quite literally begin to access more of yourself, which gives rise to more potential. And again, this is all you have to do to experience all of yourself and unlock the 2/3 of success you're currently missing out on. But of course, like with everything I share, you don't have to believe this until you experience this. So turn it into a habit and see what happens to your health, wealth, spiritual, and social life as a result.
Greetings, my friends. The first ever face video. I just want to thank you for watching the video. It means the world to me. This is honestly all you have to do to activate the 2/3 of success you're currently missing out on. So put it into action and see what the fuck happens. That's it for me, your friend, Tej.